twice monthly agenda meeting, where we are more casual than we normally are, but try to get some work done, even though we are very casual, Commissioner Maliga. So this is only our second agenda meeting, and we're sort of working on how to, work this out. So I'm going to ask, I guess I'm going to ask anybody if they have any pressing issues that we have an hour.
Would you like me to call the roll, Madam Mayor?
I think that would be a good idea.
Mayor Betty Rash.
Here.
Vice Mayor Herman Robinson.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Maliga.
Present and accounted for.
Commissioner Christopher McVoy.
Present.
Commissioner Kimberly Stokes.
Here.
There you go. Okay, thank you. So is there anything, this is our agenda meeting with, ideas to come up with, and I think I spoke with Juan a little bit. He was helpful in terms of like guiding us with this, because one thing that the staff has asked us for is a little more clarity, I think, in directions that we're going. So if we bring something up, there's something I'm going to bring up, but it's by no means a pressing thing, but it's something maybe in a couple of months we need to look at. So I think if we, red, green, yellow, kind of, just give them some idea of what we're talking about. So that if you mention something, staff doesn't snap into action to do it when you really needed it 3 months from now. And this is our final meeting with Juan as the interim city manager? Final agenda meeting?
Final agenda meeting.
Well, he'll be on the agenda meetings anyway, but as interim, and I see that sly smile on his face. He's like, realize.
How are we going to celebrate that?
I could make a joke and say now the real work begins.
Now the real work begins. Yeah, I hear you. Herman, we're talk to Salvina.
Okay.
This is
Good.
not actually with
Gotcha.
Juan here. It's not really appropriate to.
Gotcha.
Oh, Herman, the subtleties of life. So let's go by commission. I see, and I see Sarah's hand up. So let's start with District 1, Commissioner Maliga.
I just kind of wanted to get everybody else's opinion on, I'm sure the rest of you have gotten the J Street updates and the interfightings between a couple businesses and all the complaints from the apartment next to the House Lounge. And, at the advice of our fearless leader, Mr. Ruiz, I have not responded to any of the inquiries, but everybody from LW Subs to Joyce Brown, everybody on J Street is up in arms about this House Lounge. I do know that there's code enforcement cases against them, but really, what is everybody else's take on where is our place in this, right? Because everyone's like, why isn't the city doing anything? So
Right.
What do we do?
Okay, I spoke with Joyce last night. Joyce and I go back years and years and years, and it is a problem down there. There is, I don't know that we have any, the city obviously, I don't think has any official duty to straighten this out, but I think it's in the city's best interest to try to figure out a way, if there's a way that we can be helpful, to try to be helpful. I have a call into Mike Olive called me last week, and I'm going to be speaking with him today. It's a problem, and I think I would like to see perhaps some sort of intervention, some sort of mediation where the group, because that is, in fact, the coolest block in Lake Worth right now.
Can everybody else mute? I'm getting feedback from everybody
Yeah.
else, please.
Sorry.
That's a very cool block. And I don't know if anyone's seen the painting down by the hatch on the sidewalk. I want to ask if they'll do that there. It's a little one block, very artistic, very active little street. And I hate to see that this is happening. It's sad that this is happening because they should be united and working forward. So there was some conversation about having somebody come in, not one of us, coming in and really having like a meeting, a mediation. Like Mike has been accused, Mike and his family have been accused of things that I don't know if I'm going to talk to him today. I don't know if they deny it or not. And if they're true, we need to start talking about that. But if it's not true, we need to talk about that as well. Or how, there's two sides to every story at least. So my suggestion would be to find Joyce had reached out to Julie Seaver, but she's out of town. So I don't know if she would be interested, but I really think it would be in our best interest as a city to deal with this, not officially, but to maybe have an outside person come in and just have everybody sit down and say, okay, what's going on here? And how can we fix it? Because that's just such an integral part of the town. Herman?
It goes to a business organization of some sort, chamber,
I don't see that. I don't see how that would fix this particular very personal problem.
well,
How would that fix
we're
it?
not going to fix personalities,
No,
I'm
but how
sorry
would,
to say.
my question to you, Herman, is how would an organized business group help this except to talk to everybody and try to work it out?
It would be more democratic in that an organization would set some policies or set some rules for themselves. It's right now we're doing, the Hatfields and the McCoys. I think we have to have some structure to it rather than just mediate.
Well, we don't
You know.
have that now, and I think this is a problem that we need to deal with more quickly. Juan, I see your hand is up.
Yes, Madam Mayor. And obviously, I've been very conservative when you guys have talked to me about this specific item because it does involve two merchants and really not related to anything that we regulate as an organization. It's not something related to code or whatnot. It's outside the realm of really from a regulatory, enforcement perspective.
Yes.
And it is a unique situation. I was asked by other commissioners, has this happened before? And I'm like, not necessarily, not in the time that I've been here. But I would encourage you, Mayor, maybe to reach out to Christie offline as the city attorney, just in case sometimes things like this could end up in litigation or two sides barking at each other, and then the city gets kind of caught in the middle inadvertently. So I'm just cautioning you guys to be uber conservative. I know we all want to help. It's in our nature and bring everybody together. But sometimes, humans, I don't want to say
Don't be
we're not-
nasty. We can be nasty, but I don't think it would be appropriate for us to discuss it too much in detail in this public setting either. So I appreciate Commissioner Malika bringing it up, but this is why, we have Christie representing the city and maybe give some advice. Maybe the mayor, you want to kind of spearhead the conversation and take it to the next step with some legal guidance, attorney to attorney, I guess.
Okay, I see Commissioner Stokes, her hand is up.
Yes, I agree that there are certain parts of this that the city cannot get involved and shouldn't. And I do think going through third parties like you're suggesting, Julia, is a good idea, but there is also now complaints of noise and taking up parking spaces and sidewalk spaces illegally, which is something the city needs to
That
get
is a
involved
city thing, yeah.
in. But
And liquor.
now we look like we're getting mixed up in the middle of all this drama when really, so I just want to say, however, when code gets involved, I hope that we can try to handle this like very delicately and try our hardest to bring our A game and making sure that we are sitting down with the owners of the establishment and letting them know, not going in heavy handed, because I just don't want it to look like we're being used as part of this war situation. So that's my 2 cents, because we do have to have at least some involvement, and we're in a hard spot here.
And there are, I just got another email yesterday, about code violations on the sidewalk and that sort of thing. So what do you think our next step should be?
Well, I'm still thinking that this is an internal situation on J Street that if they could recognize themselves as one group, they should take responsibility for policing their issues. And yes, we do have to start. We have to start by getting involved, but the ultimate would be for them to have an organization that benefits themselves.
That's an excellent point that doesn't exist right now. And I think we have a situation that.
So when can we look towards
Well,
starting?
that would be the business people doing it. Again, this is not I see it as a local business I mean, as Sarah and I are both local business people, and there have been attempts, I mean, years ago, there was a pretty nice group that we had events stuff. It fell apart after a few years, as things do. But I don't see it as a city, and that's just my personal opinion, that if it's going to be an independent business organization, it should be an independent business organization. I see Christopher McBoy's hand is up.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for bringing it up. I think it's important that we do pay attention to it. And thank you, Mayor, for the suggestion for an outside person. I thought the suggestion of Julie Seaver was great. Unfortunately, she's out of town, but
She may not want
if
to get
that-
involved in this either. I mean, it might be, they
Well-
need a mediator, to come in.
I not. But and Rodney Romano comes to mind only because I
A lot of
have-
them as well.
is as a mediator, but other than that, I don't know particularly read for it. But I like, obviously if it can be resolved internally, that's wonderful, but we don't have an obligation to do it. We should help things along. I definitely would reiterate what Commissioner Stokes said, that we need to be quite careful and quite professional about it, that because they're kind of two unrelated things. If there are violations of usage of the space by House Lounge that actually does violate our code, whatever it is right now for that, that should be kept totally separate from any interbusiness disputes with another business. And that's a little tricky, but we should definitely emphasize that. And that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now it's 9:14. Christy, I see your hand is up.
Yeah,
Take
just
your
real,
hands down if you're done, folks. Otherwise, I don't know who's been speaking.
just real quick, Madam Mayor. We are pursuing code enforcement, and of course, we have that process, which is fair and impartial, and will address any code violations, whether it's at one business or both businesses.
Doesn't matter, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, District 2. Okay, now I'm trying to keep an eye on, I'm just supposed to run this meeting. It's 9:14. Let's talk to Commissioner McVoy from District 2.
Madam Mayor, really quick, my
Yeah.
little hand's still up.
I just thought you forgot to take it down.
No,
Herman's
I
hand is
just,
still up too. Herman, your
I
hand-
just want to clear the record on this public meeting. There is code enforcement activity, and it started yesterday in the downtown, and it's not related to any other thing
Okay.
other than just there's code activity, and there were code enforcement officers downtown yesterday providing warnings, courtesy notices to the businesses because our sidewalks are being overcome with all sorts of contraptions, and we got to be
Oh.
careful to make sure that we have the ADA pathways cleared up. And there were some
Right.
things happening under the compassionate code compliance AO that we relaxed back in July when we took out the outdoor seating. So there's some cleanup that still needed to take place. So I don't want anyone from the public or any of our merchants to think that the code activity that they've seen the last couple of days is at all related to an isolated issue. So I appreciate you guys also commenting to that, but I want you to know that there has been code activity and not related to, the prior topic.
So this was the code activity was just, the code comes through different areas of the city, and right now
Yeah.
it's downtown, and it was
Yeah.
planned before this all came up. Is that
Yes,
what-
the timing is purely coincidental, has and unrelated. Our sidewalks are just being overtaken with tables and chairs, and people can't get through. So it was kind of time for code to do a friendly reminder. And these were warnings because I was downtown at lunch at one of the establishments that actually had an issue. So, I was watching and observing, and it was, a very friendly, hey, here's a warning, we'll come back through. And most of our merchants have been there for a long time. They know the rules. They understand their sidewalk cafe permit, what's allowed and what's not allowed.
And also
but we-
displays, merchandise. displays,
Right, displays and then signs. There was some businesses have a lot of signs out. So there's just kind of a reminder going on. And again, I just want the public to understand it's
Speaking of
unrelated
down-
to anything else.
Okay, speaking of downtown, whose responsibility is it to pressure clean the sidewalks in downtown? Is that the CRA or is that the city?
The CRA does 2 pressure washings a year, but the merchants do their own little piece.
No, they don't.
Well,
It's a mess. The pavers, right? I'm in downtown all the time.
right.
It's nasty. And we've got Christmas coming up. We've got parades coming up. We've got, I mean, if
Yeah.
there's any way that we could get the sidewalks pressure clean before the party starts.
Yeah, and
know
if I
would-
remember, sorry, and if I remember correctly, I think we upped the budget in the current fiscal year to double the amount of pressure cleanings that we get between Public Works and the CRA. And if I remember correctly, I think the Public Works coordinates it, but CRA helps offset some of the cost. And I think we doubled down on it this year coming up. I see Sarah shaking her head. So yes, sounds like we're doing it quarterly instead of twice a year.
Okay, could we do that before Christmas if that's part of a quarter? Really?
Typically, I want to say Jamie does it, his crews do it before the big parade,
Yeah.
before season kicks in.
And a lot of those French drains are just jammed. I mean, they need somebody to go with a knife and clear them out. Because right, as a matter of fact, I see you, Miss Sarah, right there. In front of the city, little green building on the corner. That's if there's rain, there's nothing goes down that drain. Sarah, you want to say something?
Yes, Mr. Juan Ruiz is correct. We're going to be doing it quarterly now, which, we talked about that would be part of, having a
Right.
business advisory board. But I did reach out to Jamie in regards to the alley, because obviously having my business in an alleyway, it's been a nuisance of cleaning. And he told me that they are on schedule to not only clean all the alleyways, but pressure wash them in the next couple weeks.
Great.
So, yeah, because it is awful. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, we
But he
want
did
people to
say
come
that it's on
downtown.
schedule.
Great,
so-
thank you. Thank you for being up on that with Mr. Brown, Sarah. Well done.
It's stinky. It smells like,
It's not pretty right now. Yeah, well,
it
the
smells like
alley,
a mixture of, it's like Mardi Gras downtown.
I know any alley behind a restaurant is gonna, have a little bit of issues. So, Commissioner McBoy, we're still in District 2. It is 9:19. I'm really gonna keep us reminding of the time so that we kind of keep moving it along. Chris, what else, if anything, did you have?
Mine are not, these are all, thank you for the reminder on indicate sort of the time range. These are all longer time range ones that are sort of on my agenda. One of them is that when we first looked at the sustainability bonus, I don't know, it feels like quite a number of months ago,
Yeah.
we made some changes and we agreed that we would come back and visit that. I think that fits into the overall area of what do we want to be as a city when we grow up, and having some sort of process to democratically across the city figure out that question and then apply whatever the answer is into our LDRs and zoning and sustainability bonus. Figure out where does affordable housing, where does sustainability, environmental sustainability, energy
What is
sustainability.
sustainability? What are we talking about when we say sustainability?
Bingo. And so that's one. The other one is, and I don't know quite what to call it. So for lack of a better, I'm going to call it quality of life. For me, I'm seeing a lot of concerns from people around the city in different ways of, some of it is cleanliness of the city. This is mostly residential areas I'm talking about, that there are places where it gets a little rough, and we could certainly do with more recycle bins and staying on people a little bit more, educational efforts. I think it's a multi-pronged thing to build an enthusiasm for, it sounds like a catchphrase, but or a slogan, but keep our city beautiful, something in that direction. And then safety, true safety things that's really much more PBSO. And it comes to a number of things: noise, speeding, some of the activities that happen in neighborhoods that shouldn't be going on. It seems like there are definitely parts of the city that residents suffer a lot from some of this.
But
I'd
how do
like
you
us-
do that? How do you get I agree with you, but how do you get the people in the neighborhoods to get internally that pride? Part of that, I think, is it's a rental versus ownership issue, but not 100%. So how do is there a way that we as the commission can spearhead sort of an ideological, I remember in New York City when people would just throw their trash out the windows, and then there was a give a hoot, don't pollute. And the change in about 4 or 5 years, it was completely different. So maybe
Yeah, no, I think you're quite right that it's going to have to be multi-pronged, from partly PBSO, not the cleanliness so much. Maybe if they see people doing certain things, that would be an issue, but mostly the cleanliness would be encouragement from the city and some involvement, but primarily coming out of neighborhoods as well. But I think we can encourage and help that process. And we're a number of us are talking about it. Maybe I don't know if we want to do an advisory board or what we want to do, but I think it is an issue that affects people quite a bit. So
And affects the reputation and the perception of the city as well. It's
exactly.
something that we're always struggling to improve.
Yep.
So great. Yeah, I mean, and some sort of citywide, not that we do it all, but that to raise the perception that it is a goal to not pollute as much, to take pride in your city.
Yeah, and interestingly, I've learned that I think it's the Keep America Beautiful organization, which has state and local chapters. They are very aware of something that's very relevant to us, that a certain amount, if not a lot, of the cleanliness winds up as broken down plastic and ends up as microplastics in the ocean, which is very relevant to us. So there's an environmental concern in addition to the insight, appearance aspect and safety aspect.
I'll tell you though, ever since Starbucks moved from downtown, because that's my route every morning, I would spend more time picking up not beer bottles, but Starbucks cups. So that was sort of a boon to the downtown, is that Starbucks trash went to Dixie Highway, I suppose. But I think it's a great idea. Do we have consensus maybe at some point in the next few months? We don't have a date to work on the sustain, both of those things. I think you're right on with this. We sort of changed it, but we didn't really define what we meant by sustainability. And I think that's a project that all can be behind.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention the city's responsibility for the city buildings, annex, library, Bryant Park, all the.
I had a complaint about the annex the other day, and I went up there, and I don't know if it was cause of the complaints or just the time was right. It was immaculate. I took some pictures. I mean, it really, the city had gone in there and cleaned it up. There was a homeless guy living on the, in the front on the Lucerne side, but yeah, I agree.
Well, that's a big but.
What do you mean? How dare you?
Yeah, it was clean on one side and there's a homeless guy sleeping on the other side.
No. The homeless guys, no, Herman. There was,
I've seen him sleeping on the Luzerne side.
Right, and that's where they cleaned up. That whole ramp, everything, it was immaculate, and I would assume that we're going to keep that way.
Good.
Madam Mayor, if I may interject really quick.
Sure.
And I appreciate you.
I see Jamie's hand up. Jamie, we'll be there in a minute.
Making the comment of, can we get consensus? I saw heads, bob up and down, yes, to future work session, sounds like. So can I get an agreement so the clerk and I can start looking at dates, and we'll call it, the second quarter, the top of the calendar year, January, February, March timeframe, to identify work session dates, and then we'll start plugging in topics, sustainability, quality of life, whatever they might be. Is that okay?
What do you guys think? What do you think? I think it's good.
All right. Is there a preference to have the sustainability, quote unquote, workshop first, in the beginning of the year? Is there an order, Chris, that maybe you thought, Commissioner McVoy, in your mind of talking about these topics?
And I'm going to say that an organization of a better business development or chamber or mutual aid society for businesses downtown can address that downtown. Why don't we set a larger policy and let them handle the disputes and the cleanliness and the celebrations of what they can do business-wise.
Okay.
I'm going to ask for consensus to ask for an organization, at least a start to an authority or a board.
Herman, I asked about this 3 weeks ago when we had our conversation on the advisory board.
Yeah, and we're still not. Did we have a consensus that we're going to put a board together?
Yeah, we all voted yes.
Yes, but I think
Well-
we need to be very careful with this because again, there have been many attempts at this before, not from the city side, but from the business
this-
side.
And this
wait,
time
let me-
it's going
let
to
me
be
just
from the
let-
city.
Could I finish my sentence, Herman? You know, so what I think when we do this, and I'm totally in agreement with it, we should be very, very careful about how we lay out what the authority is, what, you know, not just let's have a visit, let's have a party and, you know, invite the businesses, but
I'm
have it
not-
pretty specific from us and from the businesses, what's needed and what the role is. That's all I'm saying. Just be a little careful. So it is now 9:28. Kim, you're District 3. Let's talk to you.
Yeah, I only had one thing on my mind for this meeting, and again, it's not something emergency, but I would like to learn, for all of us to learn more about what the steps are that are needed and maybe start taking some of those to get a mobility plan. Because like we said, we could potentially, once we see what happens through Palm Beach Gardens, we could be leaving money on the table if we don't have one. So I just want to at least make sure it doesn't seem like something that's going to happen overnight. It seems like something that could take quite a bit of planning. And so I would just like to make sure that we're starting something there.
What do people mean when they say mobility plan? That's what I'm kind of, you know, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
And that could be a
We-
great first step in the conversation.
Right, okay, so
can
that is the
look at-
first step, all right.
For some, to the Transportation Planning Agency for some help with that. It is a standard thing for cities to do. It lets them explicitly think about how do you want to move people around? How do you want to do the balance between walking, biking, electric bikes, whatever, and cars, and parking can come into it as part of it, but actually explicitly thinking about some of that. And it opens you up for the possibility of applying for funding, which is probably
For
pretty
what?
relevant.
Funding for what?
Funding for instance, changes to your streets, accommodations for different modes of transportation. It might even extend as far as funding for the electric charging stations. There are a number of things that come under that. It's sort of the first step to be able to make any changes. And it's a way to be conscious of how do we want to do this in our city?
Okay. Kim, good idea. Do we have a time frame?
And I'm guessing either Juan can help us, or I don't know if this would fall under
Second.
William Walker's department.
William. Yeah,
Maybe
well,
the second.
it's a good topic for a work session. So Commissioner Stokes is right. We need to start laying down the groundwork and doing the legwork to have a mobility plan. But a big part of that, obviously, is the cost of that needs to be budgeted. You know, so maybe the first step in the work session that William can help coordinate is explaining what exactly the mobility plan is. And then internally, we can talk about what it's going to cost, the timeline, the different elements that go into it and whatnot. I think see William on there. William can probably add some clarity as well really quick.
Yeah, and the
Good.
traditional mobility plan has actually grown over time as more options for home delivery, automated vehicles and all of that. So the plan that Palm Beach Gardens prepare, I think, is really, really good. It includes an entire calendar of infrastructure and prices for everything and estimates. West Palm Beach, I talked to someone yesterday about theirs. They went all out with one and it kind of went too far, I think. And it was about a $300,000 study among everybody. But the mobility study will likely cost anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 to cover all the items that we would like to see covered, especially since we have multiple layers of jurisdiction when it comes to roadways and that we have constrained rights of way in the city compared to some other communities. We also have the alley system that can be utilized. So just keep that in mind. And I'm going to talk to Lisa. She's a young lady from WCI who gave us a mobility presentation about a year and a half ago. She's a mobility expert. I'm going to try to get, I believe her presentation to the group in Lake Worth Beach at Social House was actually videotaped. If I can get that from her, I will pass it around so you all can get a primer on what all is involved in mobility in this day and age.
And she's done a Zoom since then.
She's done a couple of Zooms, and she actually lives in my
Yeah.
neighborhood, so I can track her down.
And what is her role, Lisa? Who is she?
She's with WGI, okay, and they're our CCNA list consultant, but she is our expert on mobility. And she gave a presentation to a group of people to explain what is involved in
Okay.
mobility and using us kind of as a little demonstration area as to all the different options for mobility.
Was that recorded when she did it?
That's what I was saying. I think it was actually videotaped. I'm going to try to get the copy of that and
Right.
forward it to all of you.
Madam Mayor, so what if we do this as an approach? Why don't we ask William to coordinate with her and have her do a quick presentation to the commission at a regular meeting, kind of an overview?
A little
And then from
appetizer.
that, we'll get consensus to move forward, because it is a lengthy timeline from the time you start to the time you get done. And we do need to get ahead of this conversation. And then through that, we can talk about the budget impact and whatnot, we'll find the funds to make this happen, because this is important, very, very important conversation that was on the list of topics that we got to grapple with. So thank you, Commissioner Stokes, for bringing that up. But does that sound like
Is
a
the
plan?
CRA in this, is the CRA with us this morning?
No.
See them.
No.
No.
So why are we talking about mobility?
It's just bigger than the CRA, but they
Yeah,
were
it's not
part
just the
of
CRA.
it.
Herman,
This
you're
is-
the one that brought mobility up.
You bring it up all the
You
time,
keep bringing it
but
up all the
Yeah.
time.
no, but
And CRA could impact it most of
Well,
all.
we'll certainly
Well,
talk.
I'll make sure to reach out to Joan, and she'll be more than happy to participate. And obviously, the CRA
Oh,
will
I'm
be an
sure.
active participant, and
Absolutely.
we'll have her. So this is a great example of a pre-agenda meeting. Melissa, we'll put on a topic for a meeting in January. William, if you could coordinate with the WGI consultant and see what works out for her, and then we'll start that first step. So,
I think at the city at a regular meeting is a good idea to kind of give the people the idea, plant the seed that we're thinking about and let people know.
yeah, and then from that, we'll end up creating a full-blown work session dedicated to mobility.
Great. Kim, anything else?
that was just the main thing I had.
Um,
The nice thing I want to say is that because these are going to be regular, I didn't feel the pressure to have to like come with everything.
I
So
love it. I mean, it's really, I love these meetings. They're really helpful for us just to be able to sit and chat.
Yeah.
In our living rooms. Okay, so thank you very much. Herman, you're number 4 next.
Yeah, I've got a list because, I don't know when things are going to be addressed. So a little disappointing that CRA is not.
This is a city
Part-
commission meeting, Herman. This is not.
I understand, and that's goes to my interest in the CRA and the commission working together, which it doesn't always.
Well, we're gonna have a meeting, a joint meeting in January, I think it is. Juan, you know about that, right?
Yeah,
It's second Tuesday, I think. The
Yeah.
regular CRA meeting is gonna be the joint meeting.
good. So anyhow, that's on my list of a chat. Let's talk about the CRA and the commission working together, which would include mobility and the possibility of supporting a business development district or a chamber or whatever, we don't have a timeline. Nobody, we're going to try and settle the dispute, but that's not a,
Right.
It's going to go to, I mentioned parking authority. I don't know if we have consensus on setting up something to work with the parking issues or not. I'm going to mention a policy for the docks, Snook Islands, and the underperforming assets of our waterfront properties. Just a simple thing of Hanukkah is Sunday night, the first night, and we are going to have a menorah in the cultural plaza, just to light the first candle. But I don't know. Lantana has a city-sponsored menorah with their Christmas tree. Is there any interest in allowing a menorah as part of a holiday, because it's only 1 week and it would be over before Christmas.
I wish you would have
Um,
brought this up before today. I'm just looking,
Well,
there is,
It's a chat. We can chat about menorah.
there's a, wait, Marshall just posted something or yesterday. The annual Bryant Park menorah lighting will be returning this year, moved to the Bryant Park Amphitheater Sunday at 5:30. Are you aware of that?
Oh, he was told it was going to be in the Cultural Plaza.
I'm just reading.
I haven't read it.
It's a Sunday at 5:30. Bryant Park neighborhood, it almost seems to be a Bryant Park Neighborhood Association thing, but I don't know. It's event by the Bryant. Do they know that there is a city one at?
Well, it was a mistake on Marshall's part. He was, Juan, were you just waving or did you want to comment?
No, I was waving at the cutie on the screen, not you.
Oh, hi,
I don't-
kid. Hi, little kiddo.
Sorry, I'm a girl dad, so when
Okay, now I've lost everybody.
Well,
Okay,
you were at the dock. You were at the dock.
all right, the docs. Oh, there's another one. Good.
All right, come on.
Kim's-
It's
Kim's got it.
9:39. I'm the time.
I got it. And last week I had 3 minutes, I think. So if we're dividing it by 4 or 5.
Herman, just what's next on your
I-
list?
Well, a policy for the dock usage,
Yes.
and a timeline for real city involvement in business downtown, a development authority or
Yeah,
a mutual aid society,
right.
rather than getting into the Hatfields and McCoys. I think that's just a very parochial way to address ongoing problems.
Okay,
Because I've got one at the Birthday Cake House. And either we're going to address it through PBSO, or the code is going to come down hard on a continuing problem.
that's
And,
gonna be a rough one. I've been approached on that as well, and we had an issue with the castle across the street years and years ago with this. If they're going under the wire, if they're having their friends, they're not advertising, they're not, everybody's allowed to have a party whenever they want to have a party. Now, they can't go past, time with noise and stuff, but I do agree with you that it's a problem, and I'm hearing from the neighborhood as well. But how do we prove that it's a commercial enterprise unless, Sarah?
As for the House Lounge, they have been advertising on Facebook. Everything from fireball shots for $2, which they don't have a
Right.
liquor license.
Well, I think that'll be the code issue that Christie's.
Yeah,
We're talking about the birthday cake house?
they have very much been advertising all over
Right, no.
social media.
No, I know. We're talking about the Birthday Cake House now, which is having big parties, apparently, big parties every couple of weeks.
Well, they have a website that shows that you can rent them for
Okay.
free
All right, well,
events.
all right, that's helpful.
And it goes to the issue of who's going to have more real authority to address an immediate problem, PBSO or code. If code comes out on a continuing basis, it can be a nuisance abatement issue, and that's pretty serious.
If they're
And
going past the,
yeah,
time.
and if PBSO goes out and says we can't do anything, everything's okay. So nothing's being corrected because we all stand in a circle and point at each other. It's
okay. Anything else?
no.
Okay. I had a
The
couple-
cleanliness, the cleanliness downtown for Christmas is important. And
So hopefully Juan and Jamie. Jamie is here and he had his hand up for a while, but I think he gave up.
But may I clarify something that was mentioned by Commissioner Robinson? Nuisance abatement is governed by PBSO and covers gang-related activity, drugs, and prostitution. The numbers of calls of service is also driven by Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and can become a chronic nuisance abatement case. The only way it can rise to a chronic nuisance declaration through code compliance is that it has been cited more than once or has not been resolved in about 6 months to 12 months. But keep in mind that the whole code compliance process can last 120 to 180 days and only end up in being a running fine. At that point, the city can get authorization for foreclosure. So PBSO has far more teeth to be able to deal with addressing issues that are right at the spot and need to be, ameliorated or resolved at that point. But their level of what they will tolerate in the community don't seem to be in the same place.
Right.
Sarah, I'm looking for their website. I'm not seeing it. Maybe they took it down.
And
Yeah,
we'll go ahead, Mayor.
J
follow.
Street, the Bamboo Room is a noise issue. The birthday cake house is a noise issue. Downtown businesses are a noise issue for, we have to establish who's really going to take responsibility for addressing the noise issue. And if PBSO can do more, I think we should encourage them to do more. If we want to put it totally on them.
Yeah.
If I could comment on that, I literally have pounded on the table with PBSO on noise issues and noise enforcement. I haven't repeatedly pounded on the table, but I have done that. I've talked to them about it before. I think as a commission, we need to be very clear. William hit it right on the head. There's a discrepancy between what the community wants PBSO to do and what PBSO is doing. And we need to clarify. We pay the bills. PBSO assures me that they're doing everything they can do. I don't think the community is convinced. If we need to have a change to our noise ordinance, or we need to have more fines, we need PBSO's involvement such that there are accumulated citations of it. Dispatch has been a real problem for people. People call and dispatch says, well, no, they have a First Amendment right, or
What?
we don't, or we've gotten real problems with that.
I have not heard that.
Oh, I've heard it repeatedly. And I've raised it with Captain Bear repeatedly. We need as a whole, as a commission, to really say, hey, we're paying a lot of money. We need to see some step up in the game.
Yeah, I think they only have one guy downtown at night, which
Well,
might
but
be.
not only downtown, but they have more people downtown. They say that they've got their meters all fired up and stuff, and they've got them, one in the cars and one at the station. I don't know. It isn't working to the community's satisfaction.
And if I may interject one more thing, is that
Sure.
the noise ordinance downtown allows a 20 decibel higher noise allocation than in our industrial area.
Till what?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Till what time,
Yes.
William? What time does it have to stop? 10?
Downtown, it goes to 11 and 85 decibels, 150 feet from the property line, and then it goes to 65. In the Park of Commerce, we're limited to 65 decibels all the time at the property line.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And we make some numbers. You can actually put a decibel meter app on your phone, and they're pretty close to the official meters. They're not legal tender, but it's useful to get an idea of what 65 and 85 decibels is.
Okay, thank you. Herman, we got a kind of a good list from you.
You got it. Sounds like there's a work session in there, a big one.
Yeah, the
So for
docs
now,
is
we'll
one
call
thing.
it Quality of life, but there's a lot of individual items to discuss on that. So we'll start to coordinate that work session as well, because it's definitely work session material.
Mr. Brown. Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Morning.
How you doing?
I've been trying to jump in there.
Well,
A few things have popped up.
you're in, baby. You're in.
I just wanted to address for one thing, the cleaning downtown. So we're 4 times a week with the downtown cleaning.
You mean a year?
What's that?
You said 4 times a week, which I was very impressed by, but I think it's probably not 4 times a week.
It is 4 times a week. Monday and Tuesday is refuse, Thursday is grounds.
Oh, like that, okay.
Yeah,
Jamie,
they actually-
but explain what actually cleaning downtown means, because
Right.
it's not a.
We're worrying about the pressure cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pressure cleaning, that took place on Sunday and Monday night. That's twice a year. They were doing the pressure cleaning downtown, all the pavers downtown, and that actually took place this past Sunday and Monday night. We usually do it
Good.
pre-season and then before the summertime starts.
Okay.
So that's a twice a year thing.
So it's done. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then the annex issue, because I know this came up last week or the week before. That is a constant battle back and forth, especially like in the entryways with the homeless. They put the cardboard down. The smells that kind of ruminate from those areas. We're constantly out there pressure cleaning at least once a week out there. We remove all of the material, the cardboard, the bedding, everything else. It's removed, but literally the next day, last week's a perfect example, the very next day, it's right back again. So it's this constant battle. So depending on when you go, because I know,
Right.
Mayor, you had mentioned that you went and looked immaculate. Well, we were
Perfect.
probably just out there. But I guarantee you 24 hours later, it did not look or smell immaculate anymore. So depending on when you go, it may or may not appear that way. And that's just that constant battle that we're always struggling with to try to keep things as nice as possible. But we can only be out there so much.
Yeah.
We can't post someone there 24/7.
And the homeless problem is not going to get any better in the next month.
No, so it's just unfortunate when we see things posted because it's like, well, it'd be nice if someone knew that we were out there 17 hours ago and it looked great and we had pressure cleaned it, but that's not what it currently looks like now when they snap the photo and post it online, unfortunately.
Right. I know. And that's, social media has its pros and cons. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Absolutely.
I was going to talk the couple things. It's now 10 to 10. A couple things I was going to talk about was I think one of the workshops we need to have sooner rather than later would be, or there's not really a rush for because we have plenty of time to spend it. But I think we need to have a workshop on the ARPA funds and talk about the ARPA funds and how we're going to do that. We've now committed to use some of them to give the bonuses to our employees, which I'm very happy about. There is an issue, and I had thought about this years ago, and it came up again. God bless Facebook. Our golf course, how many, can we look at? I don't know what's being used, so I'm just throwing this out there as an issue, as a possible issue. I don't know how often the contract comes up for maintenance, but I would like to perhaps address the fact that we maybe could be an example of a municipal golf course that doesn't use quite as many chemicals as other golf courses do. So that's just one thing I wanted to think about. We don't need a workshop. It's just something to put in your heads to talk about golf course chemicals, the chemicals that go into the water. Palm Beach is their contract with West Palm for the water is coming up. And we have great water and we always love good customers. So I'm meeting with the Palm Beach mayor just to have a conversation with her about, is that something of interest to her, and just to meet her anyway, just to do that. So I'll be talking obviously to our water people, but is it possible that we could take over that contract when it comes up? It's a couple of years from now, but they're starting to talk about it. So
The RO plant is designed to be expandable and there's plenty of room to expand.
Madam Mayor, let's talk offline. I'll coordinate a meeting with Mr. Shields, who has been involved in those conversations already.
Could
and
we
we'll
do
get
that
you-
next? Okay, could we do that next week?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get you up to speed on.
Because I'm meeting
what-
with her, I think on the 2nd.
All right, I know Brian's on here. And Brian, if you're listening, let's
Hi, Brian.
we'll coordinate a conversation with the mayor and get
Okay.
her up to speed. Or do you have a 30-second update that you can provide on our conversation with potentially?
Yeah, sure, Juan, no problem. We've been working with the staff level at the town of Palm Beach, gave them what it would take to expand our plant, which would obviously be at their capital cost, not ours. So that discussion is underway. Their contract with West Palm Beach expires in 2029, but obviously it's a multi-year project to make it happen, and a lot of discussion has taken place over the years. So it has already begun, and I can fill you in further on the
Thank you.
details next week.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I just thought, sometimes face to face, and I need to meet some of these people anyway, and I don't get out much. So I thought it was a good opportunity to have lunch with somebody, and talk about a serious thing. That's really all I have. I mean, our new city manager's coming in. We texted yesterday about something and she's very excited. I think she's moving into the Parrot Cove townhouses on Federal. It's going to be an interesting transition for all of us. Juan's going to take a giant sigh of relief, except he probably realizes that his work is going to be harder for the first few months anyway, because now he's got to teach somebody, so we all need to give her a good welcome. And okay, it's 9:53. We're 7 minutes ahead. Anybody want to fill up 7 minutes, or can we go early?
Wow.
Herman, muted.
Hermie, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Can we throw in some possibilities for the unbudgeted spent money? Call it ARPA, call it whatever you want.
Well, that's what we're talking. We're going to have a workshop on it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
do we want to throw out some top? We had time. We could fill it with a wish list.
Let me, Madam Mayor, may I request, just let me clarify a couple things really quick in a short amount of time, specifically the boat dock policy, which has been coming. And I know this is a near and dear topic. Commissioner Robinson, we've been working on this conversation for what, 4 years, 5 years? And it goes to Nook Island's facility, as you guys are probably, you probably wouldn't know this, was funded through the county and combination of funds. It wasn't city funds. And we have an interlocal agreement with the county that basically we operate and manage the facility. What has been a hurdle to overcome in implementing a dock usage program, like a day pass, you rent a slip for 3 days or a week or whatever, has been the fact that when it was established with the intent for it to be transient in nature only. That means people come, they use it for the day, and they leave. It was never, ever the intent to monetize, commercialize the facility. It's a public amenity like a typical park. So it's been very difficult to get fined to allow us to charge. Okay. And we've talked about this publicly at many commission meetings. I don't care one way or another. But at the end of the day, fine's determination is if you're going to move forward toward charging and implementing a program where you're charging people in order to manage it and the usage of it, then they want to be paid back their portions of what they put into the pot.
Or they can cooperate with us. It almost goes to a homeless situation for boats. Our annex steps weren't built for sleeping, but we have sleeping there. Our parks weren't built for homes, but they're homes for a lot of people. And we have the potential for more of a problem if we don't have a set policy other than no. And the policy for no works, except that it doesn't, because we still have homeless and we still have derelict or unaccounted for boats. We need some responsibility policy.
There was some talk about possibly having a dock south of the bridge, away from the Chinook Islands. Is that something that we could perhaps next year pursue? To have passive, we're keeping Bryant Park passive. And I'm not suggesting I'm for it or against it. I just think it's something that we might want to talk about in terms of appropriations next year. What else can we do? Because, if the Gulf Stream opens up, and we're all praying seriously that it does, in our lifetimes, that would be, that's sort of an entertainment hub. Then that would be for the city, one would hope. So that's just something else that, if we can, right now, if between the county and fine, we can't do that, then that's the answer. But then the next question is, how can we do that if it's something we think is important? or desirable. Um,
I
Lauren.
think Commissioner Maliga has her hand up.
Oh.
Or
Oh, there it is. Yes, it's, you can't see it. There you go. Sarah?
I just want to take a minute and thank you all for being here. I'm thankful on this Thanksgiving for having such a great crew to work with, and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. May you enjoy it.
Yeah, I was gonna end with that as well, and it's almost time to end, and
I'll second that.
everybody enjoy your few days off. Melissa, travel safely, have fun. Give my regards to San Francisco.
Thank you, I will.
Go to the ferry building, get some cheese.
Okay,
And have a great time, everyone. Thank you. Your time as interim is coming to an end, but I just wanted to say, and I think I speak for all of us, that you have done a yeoman's job, and we really appreciate everything it's not been an easy year for anybody in this group. So I think we're all doing good. So I hope.
thank you, Mayor. It's been a
As I say-
privilege.
Well, it's been a privilege for us to work with you as well. I mean, this has been, here, four of us, except for Herman, four of us are getting used to how to do this in our first year. And you've been very helpful, and I appreciate that.
It's a team effort.
It
Got a
is
lot
a
of good
team
people in the
And we
organization.
have a great team and we have a great city. I mean, all we can do is improve on this. We have the basis, we have, and people come here. I was talking to some folks the other day that for some reason came downtown and they were like, oh my God, I had no idea. People, we are really, sometimes too individual, and we're just going to work on improving it. We have a lot of good ideas, not enough time and money to do all of them, but we're doing our best. Kimberly, have fun with your little children over the holidays. And Herman, Mazel Tov, Happy Hanukkah, if we don't talk to you before then. So we got to figure out, though, you got to tell you, it's got to be determined, where is that menorah going to get lit? And Saturday night is the tree lighting ceremony, which I'll be at. Some of us will be at. I would love to see you all. I know Sarah's off on another adventure. God bless you. And I hope to see some of you, Chris, Kimberly, Herman, at 7 o'clock. We should all just, I don't know what our role is there, but I think it's just to say hello and welcome everybody a merry holiday season, Christmas season. So thank you all, staff. I see you all watching and listening, and thank you very much for all you do. We're not leaving you out of this. Have a great long weekend, everybody, and we'll be back again on Monday or Saturday night. Thank you
Saturday.
very much, everybody.